Hi, everyone. Welcome back. You're still with us on the C Morning Show. And Marissa mentioned off air, you love today's time. It seems like an ongoing theme this week so far.
I do.
But how to be a better person.
Yeah, well-being.
Well-being, not just personally or at home, but in the workplace, which leads us to the second discussion of the morning about a place where most adults spend at least a third of their time. That's fascinating for me, which is at work.
Yes, which is about 8 hours or sometimes post-pandemics even more. It's getting unhealthy, guys. But anyway, the topic today is from stress to success, tackling toxic office culture for a healthier workplace. So we're going to talk about toxic workplace. So that's why today we have clinical psychologist Nadya Pramesrani, who will share her insights on the topic. Good morning, Nadya.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So what is a toxic workplace?
Well, toxic workplace, employees tend to identify a culture. I said culture because it's not individuals. Culture as toxic when it is marked with inclusivity, disrespect, unethical practices, and abuse. Verbal abuse, mental abuse, and it's affecting the employee to have a sense of lack of organizational support. We can see that in that kind of organization, it's affecting someone's physical and mental health. And by physical, a recent study shows that people or employees who experience injustice at work is the odds for them suffering diseases like coronary disease, arthritis, diabetes, asthma, is increased by 35%.
Wow.
That's massive.
That's massive. That's why, especially during and after pandemic, the medical bills for the company is quite rising up.
Yes.
And but on the other hand, luckily their understanding, their awareness of mental health is also rising up. Then again, it's affecting the company because then they have to more expenses on maintaining that health.
Yes, exactly. Because when as we know, when the employees are not doing very well physically and mentally, it means that productivity will also goes down, and that means like less money and less profit for you guys. Which means that it is very important to take care of everybody's health, like physical and mental. And one of the keys is to actually have a better culture at the office, right? So when this happens, who is the person responsible for observing, analyzing, reporting, and changing it?
It takes everyone to contribute to the changes, because in the first place, toxic workplace culture can be caused by three things: weak boundaries, low trust, and incivility. Let's discuss this one by one. Incivility is like lacking in good manners. So when you're working, there's always a possibility that you made mistake, but how you address that mistake, how you give constructive feedback, it's another thing. You have to do it assertively, and then you have to direct your feedback towards something that employee can change.
But not attacking your character.
Exactly.
Saying you're stupid, you're incapable, you're incompetent.
Or generalizing that one mistake to something that becomes someone's identity.
Oh, that's very sad.
So, and then there goes the one cost of toxic culture. And then about the low trust. Low trust often manifests in micromanaging practices. In micromanaging practices, it impacts the employee to feel sense of incompetence, they're questioning their skills, and then it's affecting their self-esteem, it's affecting their confidence. And then because blurred boundaries between what's within my scope of work and what's not, and again, it circles back to inability to perform their responsibility.
And what do you even need me here for if you're going to
Exactly, and then you're questioning, and it develops a sense of helplessness that I'm not contributing enough to this organization. And then the last one is about weak boundaries. It often manifests in prolonged working hours.
Oh, that happens a lot post-pandemic. Still going.
Post-pandemic, exactly. Because during pandemic, and then society learned that, hey, we can work effectively virtually.
We don't have.
Let's have meetings at 11 p.m.
We don't have to have a direct interaction to work. And then the technology enable us to work wherever, whenever.
Yes.
And then there goes the wake boundaries. People then say, I can contact you at 9 p.m. Before pandemic. It's easier for us to separate our life from work. The moment we step out of the office, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, I can breathe.
But right now, you bring your office with you everywhere.
Correct, Nad.
Even on vacation.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
that kind of things, weak boundaries, and then prolonged working hours, and even the pressure, the demand to stand by 24/7
Oh, no.
becomes the culture.
Because everyone else is doing it. So if
Because
you're not
everyone else is
reachable,
doing it.
well, find somebody else who is.
Exactly, and then you become irreplaceable.
Yes. So now everyone's afraid to turn their phone off. So going on more on what Marissa was saying, who's in charge of keeping all the checks and balances in place then when
Yeah.
it comes to controlling all of this? if you
Yeah,
will?
and restoring the culture.
Yes.
Of
Make it
course,
healthy.
and if the ones responsible is the organization, right? They play pivotal role in creating a zero tolerance policy, in creating a humane working system.
Yes.
But even if in the bigger term, organization have their own limitation, us as a leader, at least we can create a positive culture with our team.
Yeah.
Even as if we are not the leader, but we're as a team player, we could also play our role.
Because we're small leaders too.
Because small leaders, exactly. So in on individual levels, what we can do is enhance our resilience. Because
How do we do that?
how do we do that? So we can do it in three ways. One, to create connection and community. So create a support system within the office, internal division, cross division, and also outside the office. Spending time with your family, your friends, and then it just helps to have a robust support system.
Right.
Okay.
So you can have the channel, or you can have the resources to buffer the negative effect of
Yeah.
work culture, or even to help you make a strategic exit.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Strategic exit, you mean, if you are in a situation,
Yes.
people always said that you can only do what's within your control.
Correct.
Right?
Very stoic. Yes.
Very stubborn. And then actually what you can do within your control is divided by three things.
Yes.
One, you change yourself by enhancing your resilience,
Yes.
one thing. You can change the society, or you can
Yes.
change the organization. Like when you have a toxic leader, you might mitigate the risk by exploring connections to the higher up, or like reaching out to the HR and then try to do something to create the culture.
Correct.
Or if you cannot change yourself, you cannot change the organization or the
Yes.
situation,
Yes.
get out of the
Remove
situation.
yourself from the
Remove
situation.
yourself from the situation, and you find a better situation for you.
Yeah.
So everything is under your control, but to what impact, then you need to make a strategic approach on that.
Yes.
Okay. You touched on an interesting point that we should explore a little more. You mentioned if our leader is the one that is causing the toxicity, it becomes kind of difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best strategic way we should handle that situation?
'Cause we
if
don't wanna
somebody's in a
exit-
senior position.
We don't want to exit too quickly.
No, that should be
especially
like
if
the
we love
last
the job, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So to mitigate the negative impact of toxic leaders, you can do it by two things. Either you explore connection with the higher ups,
Correct.
not to get some backingan,
Yeah,
Right.
but to learn more about this person or how to deal with this person. And then we might have a different perspective from the higher ups. Or you might engage yourself in special projects where you can cooperate or work together with lateral managers. Lateral managers. So you can diversify your experience,
Right.
and then you have a better understanding on how to deal with a certain people.
Okay. With other people in a similar position or at a similar level.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, because in the first situation, the downside is you could be seen as like a quote unquote snitch, right? Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
snitching on me. Okay, I'm going to make life even more difficult for you, which
Yes.
causes more toxicity.
Yes,
But the
correct.
second way is actually a more interesting strategy, I think, from my perspective. So I want to share a story. I worked in the finance industry before I moved to Indonesia, a huge company. We were given, at any position that you would start at, I came in at entry level, they gave us this huge, what we called an employee handbook. And inside, there was a section of their code of conduct.
Right.
So it's,
yes.
and it was literally really long, but we all had to read it. But it was very clear what you can and cannot do. And it made things just really simple. So if you broke any of the rules in the code of conduct, then you would be reprimanded or somebody could report you and you would have no argument. It's very black and white. But not every company has that luxury.
Yeah. I'm not even familiar with code of conduct.
And in fact, I bet you in most places you start work, people just assume you will just behave with proper manners, treat each other with respect.
We're expected to.
Yeah, you should already know everyone's adults and you don't go through this orientation kind of period.
Yes, that's true.
So,
but you can ask the HR. Like most companies have employee handbook nowadays because of the cases, the rising cases of harassment, discrimination, and the awarenesses are better now than maybe like 20, 30 years ago. So most company have their employee handbook, but it's not, they're not reinforced or they're not being asked to read and understand what's in it.
Correct.
But then again, there are a certain issue in Indonesia about literacy that might hinder their willingness to read because, as you said, employee handbook
is a long one.
Mostly very, very thick.
Yes.
But then it pays off if you understand the cultures in it and mostly to know if you're having a certain issue, what can you do about it?
Correct. Yeah. So we speak about culture a lot, right? So basically, to create a healthier workspace or workplace, we need to also change the culture.
Yeah.
Now, inside culture, there is a group of people, right? And a group of not only like the main leader, but I always think that everyone is a leader of their own. So what do you think, what kind of leader can help create a healthy workplace? What are the characteristics that we can emulate, we can remember and try to emulate so we can create a workplace that is nice and nice for everybody to flourish?
So for a leader, there's 5 elements that they need to ensure it's happening within their team. One is about security and balance. So the ability to have a proper amount of rest, time to shut off from the work. It also comes from the leader, right?
Yes.
I don't think I have seen cases from my clients that it's the leader having complained because their subordinates is contacting them late at night.
Yeah.
That's one thing. So having the opportunity to have a proper time for rest and also encouraging for them to have a day off and paid day off.
Yeah, libur, go libur, like take a day off.
Like before there was this meme saying that the longer you work, the more leave you have, like 21 days, 25 days.
Is that true?
And then the challenge is, can I take it?
Right.
Yes, that's
The
true.
issues is you can only mengajukan, gitu kan, asking for leave, but then whether it's a yes or no, it depends. Gitu kan. So one thing as a leader is to create that harmony. And then next time is about connection and community. Like I said, being in a toxic culture is identified with non-inclusivity. So making sure everyone is part of the team.
Not cliquey, yeah?
Not cliquey. Of course, we cannot pretend that we might feel more comfortable with a certain people than the others, but it doesn't justify autism.
Yeah.
And then you just have to include everyone in the project. Everyone have the same opportunity.
Yes. Okay.
And then about being matter at work.
Yes.
It's about giving dignity and meaning to work. Because sometimes people said that they work because they needed the money, but why do you chose that work
Correct.
to provide for you?
Yes.
It must be having some personal meaning.
Absolutely.
Gitu. They might say it's about, well, that's the only opportunity I have. Gitu. Maybe it's an opportunity you have because it's the only one who's closer to your family.
Yeah.
So the meaning is for you to be able to work, but to keep close with your family. It's always a personal meaning. Gitu. So make sure the leader encourages their employee to have that sense of dignity and meaning of work. And the last one is about opportunity to growth. One of the things like creating special projects, training, something for them to learn, professionally developing the capability or even personal characteristics that can be developed.
Yes, it's basically making the anak buah or the fruit child or the staff members, feel that they're taken care of.
Yes, they're taken care of, and they have the opportunity to contribute.
Yes, have the opportunity to contribute.
To feel contributed.
To feel like they're part of not just, invisible, basically, as part of a
they're
large.
not just robots doing the work. And you mentioned 5, so what's the last one?
Is it just 4?
Oh, is it only 4? That's fine too if it's only 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've read as well there are companies, large companies that have nothing to do with the fitness industry that have either had like small exercise gyms at their workplace or even provided memberships so that their employees can stay healthy. But that's actually like a double kind of, there's a motivation behind that for the company because they want the company to be more available and healthy.
Right.
But now knowing that toxicity can actually affect someone's health, things like outings, company outings. I've seen companies do that. That always helps.
Does that work?
Does that actually help?
It depends on what kind of vibe that they're making.
Right.
Sometimes it feels like mandatory or where do they go or what do they do during the outings?
Sure.
It's not something that is, it's not discussed within the groups.
Yes.
Again, we were talking about contributing to the organization.
Yeah.
So involving the subordinates, involving everyone in the team to have their say over something,
Yes.
that's something that will help.
Yes.
So when you're making outings, it's not just about, okay, outing, let's get together, but let's get together this activity.
What's the purpose?
What's the purpose? Do they see it as something burden
Right.
Yes.
or something that they look forward to?
Yeah, because they have good leaders, maybe. That's why they look forward to, because that's the opportunity for them to be in the same space with their leaders, discuss things, exchange ideas, and actually contribute together.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess, would you agree that being a good leader or being good leaders is almost like being good parents?
Yes, I was just going to say, I
Right?
was thinking a lot of that aligned.
Right, Paul? I mean, it's like you give guidance, but at the same time, you let your children sort of roam free and, observe, figure out, explore, and all that. But then whenever
100
they...
kids.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but with 100 kids, right? But whenever they need guidance, they can always come to you because you're a safe space for them because you trust each other.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
You created a successful workplace. There you go. Thank you so much, Nadya.
Thank you,
for coming by.
Nadya.
Thank you for having me.
This talk, and hope that if any of you are experiencing toxicity in your workplace, that we're able to shed some light and perhaps show you a better way forward. We're going to go for a quick break here on the program, but we'll be back with some recaps from the world of sports here on the C Morning Show.
Thanks a lot, Nat.
Thank you.